everyone, this is Claudia here from the Bookkeeping Experts. I'm back for more education on QuickBooks Online. This week we're going to Las Vegas and we hope to see you there at the QuickBooks Online convention, or QuickBooks Connections is called, in Las Vegas from the 26th through the 29th. I will be there. Hope to see you. If you see me there, hey, say hello. I would love to get to meet you in person. So I'll see you in Las Vegas next week if you are coming. If you're not coming, what are we talking about today? We are talking about unapplied cash payments. You may find those transactions on your profit and loss when you have cash basis accounting. First, let's explain what is cash basis versus accrual basis. Well, cash basis accounting is when you account for income and expenses when you actually exchange cash, or when you get paid cash, or when you pay cash, or means when you exchange money. In accrual, what it means is that you're going to accrue the expense and you're going to accrue the income when you provide the services, or when the services are provided to you, but not necessarily exchanging monies or making the payments. This is according to GAAP. GAAP is accrual. And the reason why is to match the expenses to when you earn the money, basically. Well, we're going to talk about an unapplied cash payment, though. So we're going to go straight into QuickBooks Online. And here we go. All right. So here is our sample account. And we have a profit and loss open up. How to get there? For those of you who don't know, you want to click on Reports. Okay, and profit and loss. And we're going to take a look at this month because that's when I added those transactions. Okay. This month, there it is. Okay, run. And we're going to run it cash, because when you do it accrual, you're not going to see that, okay? But when you do it cash, that's when you see the unapplied cash payment. And unapplied cash payment is a way for QuickBooks to say, wait a minute, you only count income when you actually receive cash, and you actually pay for this bill, or you receive payment before you actually enter the invoice or enter the bill. And that's what QuickBooks is saying. That's why you have this this error. Now, there is another way for you to receive this error, and the other way to do it, to receive this error, is when the amount paid on the invoice is different from the invoice itself. It means that for more than what the invoice is for. Not for less, but for more than. If it is for less, it doesn't create any error. But if it is for more, yes. Okay. So we have a couple examples here we want to show. So this is our profit and loss. And to see those transactions, you can click on the summary on the amount of the transactions, and you can see all the transactions that has issues. So the first option here is that $500. Okay, so you see a positive, which is the payment, and the negative, which is the invoice. Now, the invoice has to be for the same date of the payment or before. It cannot be after. If you're cash basis, you want to assign the date of the invoice to prior to the payment, the date of the payment, or prior to the payment, either one. So how to fix that? Very easy. I'm going to go straight into the invoice. I know that this payment was received on the 17th, but the invoice was created on the 19th. Sometimes this happens when you have integration and the invoices come later. Sometimes you may receive an error and then send the invoice. The invoice will be dated for a wrong date, or maybe you receive the payment and then you decide, oh yeah, let me create the invoice for that. Yeah. So no, you have to follow the workflow. First create the invoice, then receive the payment. Or sometimes it can be like, the customer paid before the due date, so that could be as well. But anyhow, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna go ahead and click on the invoice itself, and the only thing I need to do, if it is the date the invoice was created after the payment was received, I just have to change the invoice date. So I change it to the 17th here. We're gonna save and close. And as soon as I save and close, we're going to go back to the profit and loss. It takes us back to the profit and loss. And it's all gone. See, it disappeared just like that. So I fixed that one. Now, this second one is a different issue. So if I click on this transaction, okay, I'm going to see that the payment is different than the invoice. And sometimes that happens because, let's suppose a customer decided to add a tip or maybe add a service and you didn't update the invoice, or anything else. Let's suppose that the invoice is supposed to be more but ended up that it's not. So how to fix that? You just fix the invoice itself. So you're gonna click on the invoice here. It's gonna open up the invoice and you're gonna adjust the invoice for the amount of the payment. So make sure that you add whatever you are supposed to add here. Let's suppose that it's tips. Okay, I don't have tips here. It's a tips. It's just a service. I'm just closing over here. There it is. Okay, it's just a service. And by the way, tips does not go to sales unless the tips is your tips and you're keeping it. But if you're distributing this tip, you gotta select this item to go to undistributed tips, okay, which is a other current liability. So this is not income to you, this is a liability. And once you pay your employees or distribute the tips, then you take it out of the liability and report it as an expense. Okay, all right, so let's save and close here, and there it is. Okay, so we have tips, but I didn't put the amount, so $50 tips, and we're gonna save and close. And we added that, like I said, we added the tips to undistributed tips because that's not my tips. I'm gonna distribute to my employees. Okay, so I updated that transaction, but I haven't fixed the issue yet. So this one takes a few more extra steps, right? Let's see, this month. Okay, there you go. I still have the oh yes, so I updated the invoice and it was fixed. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show it to you. But the only thing is that sometimes if you record the payment for a different amount, you're going to have to adjust that payment, okay? So let's go to that invoice. And I'm going to click on the counter clock. When you click on the counter clock, it's going to show you the last transaction you were working on. So we're going to show what you did. So you updated the amount here. Now this payment here still says $400, and I want to fix this payment because if not, that amount's still gonna be outstanding, and I want to go ahead and put the $450 as the payment received, not 50. I'm sorry, $450. Okay. And once again, why am I doing this? I'm gonna go back here because I did bring the profit and loss, but it was on accrual and it wasn't showing that it didn't fix the issue. Okay, profit and loss. We'll go this month, and remember, if it is accrual, it's not going to show the error. But if it is cash, because this is just for cash basis, it's going to show that I did update the amount of the invoice, but I didn't update the payment to that invoice. So we still have a problem here, okay? So when I click on that $50, it's going to open up the transaction. I'm going to click on the $50 again. It's going to open up the payment here. And I still have the payment as $400, but the amount received is $450. So I have to adjust the amount right over here. Okay, so adjust the payment to match, and then there's no credit left over to match the amount received. So we're gonna save and close, and voila, we fixed both issues. Okay, so this is how we fix unapplied cash payment. So let's go back to QuickBooks. Okay, I'm sorry, back to me. All right. Hopefully this was useful to you. So this is when you see that error, especially, mostly for customer that use cash basis. Okay. If you use cash basis and you see this error on your profit and loss, this is how you fix it. If it is just the date, you can go into the invoice, fix the date. If it is the amount on the invoice, you want to make sure you go to the invoice. So there's more steps to it. You go into the invoice. You're going to change the amount of the invoice by adding whatever service or whatever is the extra payment for, saving it. And then you got to go into the payment and fix the payment so that the payment will apply or will match the amount received. Okay, so hopefully this is clear. If you have any question on that, feel free to add a note down below, and we'll be happy to get back to you right away. Even when we are in Las Vegas next week, I'll be able to answer those questions. All right, so I hope to see you next week. I hope you have a wonderful week, and until next time, keep on smiling.